Hello again everybody, welcome back to Saudi Arabia in the C172. Today we are flying from Turaif to Arar, which is about 100 and X miles away on a bearing of 106. We have spawned here on the threshold because there are no ramps apparently in Xplane 11 at this field. Runway 28, so we're going to have to turn around once airborne. Quick go through of the start checks. I'm not going to radio in for all the start. We're just going to get ourselves airborne. There's nobody here at this airfield. The place is completely empty. When we get to some of the larger fields, we'll probably go and use IVAO and see some traffic, but for the moment there will be no traffic. So confirm the brakes are on, battery on now, and we'll throttle to 1/4, check the mixture lean, fuel pump on, and then we just give it some gas, wait for the fuel flow gauge to start moving, which it's doing there nicely, and it is settled. Fuel pump off. Excellent. Now we can check that we're on both tanks there. Got to do that. Now we can get the engine started. Very easy. Beautiful, beautiful. And let's just check we've got 1,000. That'll do about right. Now we can start turning everything else on. So let's get the alternator on and the avionics on. Turn some lights on here. Actually, we won't need the taxi light because we're not taxiing. So we're basically all good to go there. And we can now take off. We're going to head out on 106 as suggested, and then at some point later on we'll pick up the airfield beacon, but I'm not going to bother with that and the comms radio, sorry, the nav radio. Just for now, we'll stick with what we've got. Flaps are up. Okay, we're good for takeoff here. We'll leave the transponder on standby position and just adjust the track eye out, and away we go. Sorry about that, just track IR messing around with me a bit there. Okay, confirming the flaps are up. We'll just maintain runway heading. Keeping an eye on my RPM there. That's a better view. Okay, we're in a position to turn right, so these lights can come off. In fact, don't need to turn any of those off. We'll go right onto 106. The airfield disappearing away behind me there. I've got the frame rate counter showing again, getting a solid 75 frames per second here, which is perfect. And we're in 1440p resolution. So nice high frame rate for that resolution, which is really good. Track IR is a little bit slow. that's no problem. So there's my heading of 106, about there. And the field is now passing away on the right. You can see they've put road network and stuff around here, but they just haven't fleshed out this part of the world very much at all in Xplane 11. It's pretty damn barren around here. Obviously there's not many players who fly around these parts. I think most people use Central Europe and North America for their flying. It's not many of us who are visiting these out-of-the-way places. RPM looks good. Plenty of fuel. Okay, I think we can probably turn the autopilot on. Okay, so it's turning me around to the left a bit onto 106 or thereabouts. With VFR all the way today, and we'll not bother with the traffic control in Xplane 11 because it's garbage, and we're also not using any external air traffic control plugins or anything, and there is no traffic either, so we don't have to worry too much about stuff getting in the road. I will be needing to check the map momentarily in order to confirm that we are picking up the nav radio at Arar, which we'll program in closer to the time. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. There we go, we've left Turaif well behind us now. You can still just see it back there behind the seatbelt disappearing, and I'm real keen to get across this desert and be done with it. It is boring stuff flying across this desert. Look at that. Nothing. Tracking on 105 degrees, just very close to what we want. Heading away on the 100 radial. Probably actually want to come right a bit then to get onto the 106 radial. I'm going to do that now. Because it's actually 106 from Turaif where we're going. So even though I'm heading I was heading 106, I'm not really on the right radial, so I'm going to bring that around slowly. While we're still relatively close to Turaif, I'll do that. I'm actually directly out underneath the approach path. I can see the PAPI lights just there. Yeah, I can see the PAPI lights way over there where my cursor is. So I'd be directly under an approach path for that runway, so this would not be an advisable flight path that I'm on at the moment. But as long as I'm aware of it. This is not careless, this is deliberate. 103, 3 more degrees of movement around the radial, and then we'll be on 106. And we can track straight along that. No intermediate VORs today. We are just going straight between fields on the most efficient route possible. It's flat out there. Not a hill, not a dune, not a cliff, not a scrape of nothing, not a log. Nix. Empty. An empty landscape. Good airspeed. Up at 110. Okay, 105 radial now. We can start coming left onto a heading of 106, a track of 106. Right, I'm 3 degrees off track and I'm heading straight down the wire. So using track IR here, I am very, very tempted to go VR. I've been watching quite a few videos this week on the imminent release of the Pimax VR kits, and from what I've seen on YouTube, they look pretty damn impressive, and I think these things are going to be the beginning of Gen 2 for VR. And I've been holding off, waiting for Gen 2, and these guys may have just done it. They look like a seriously decent upgrade on existing VR headsets that are out there. Okay, we're on track now, so let's bring this round bang on 106. 2 clicks left on the autopilot, or the course adjust, and 106, and we're on the 106 radial out of Turaif. Everything lines up. Everything lines up beautifully. So here's our map. Unfortunately, where we are going is not showing on the map. Arar. It's just off here. This is one of my frustrations with Xplane, is that this mini-map doesn't zoom out beyond this point. Only ever get about 100 kilometers of mini-map. It's very frustrating. So we're tracking straight down this, which is the radial into Arar. I wonder if there's a V45. No information about the navigation beacon at the other end. Now there should be some terrain at my 2 o'clock in the long distance. Let's see if we can see it. Oh yeah. It's a little bit pathetic, but yeah, there is some hills out there, way off. Fair play. Looks like we're also tracking along a highway. Yeah, it's a highway. There's vehicular traffic. What a busy highway. I bet they get about 1 car an hour on this highway in real life, but Xplane 11 has it pretty busy. I'm also willing to bet that that is the highway all the way into Arar. I'm assuming we're probably going to follow that most of the way. I can afford to give it a bit more RPM here. I want some airspeed. Let's go with that. There we go. IAS is climbing. 127, 128 miles per hour. Just under 115. Oh yeah, sitting on 115 knots. This is good airspeed. Just tootle along like this, we'll be there in no time. About 100 miles, so we're looking at an hour. Bit of a long flight, to be honest. The last flight we did must have been about 80 nautical miles. This is a long leg we've got here. Which also means it's going to be a bit of a long, old, boring video. Let's go look at some external views. We might as well, because we can. It is not real life. Let's jump outside. Actually, it looks like there's some reflections. I've got reflections here of the blue radios. Now, I'm going to turn those radios off for a second. Let's see if those reflections disappear. Shouldn't do this in flight. This is very naughty, but we're doing it for testing. There's some blue reflections just to the left. Yes. They went off. These look like they're actually really well done. Speaking of reflections on canopies, yeah, these are not baked on. Okay, so DCS has tried to do this. DCS has tried to do reflections from the interior instruments onto the canopies, and they've just pasted on a semi-transparent image file across the canopies, and it just sits there flat. It's incredibly terrible. It is one of the biggest kind of visual blunders I think that the Egodynamics team have made in DCS, and all they need to do is just remove it. If you're going to have reflections, you should do it properly, like Xplane is doing, rather than some half-assed, baked-on, semi-transparent image layer that never moves and is completely flat and doesn't respond to lighting, etc., etc. So I'd rather have nothing than have some half-pie nonsense. It's particularly bad in the Spitfire, but I understand the other modules suffer similarly from this horrificness. It's actually something I need to have removed from my installation because it's horrible. Looking at everything here, still in the green. Fuel flow's a little high. Don't know if we want to keep the fuel charging out at that rate forever. I am pushing this aircraft just a little bit here, so I do want to be careful. We've now covered just coming up on 30 nautical miles of the trip. Another 30, 60, 90. Oh, it's a long haul flight. It really is a long haul flight. Just hope I can keep us entertained for long enough. Right, I mentioned we'd go see some external views, so let's do that now. actually really nice to hear the sound, the way it changes as we adjust the viewer angle. Not sure what that view was, but we're back in the cockpit either way. Just going to check our... Okay, we're still on the 106 radial, and we still have a track of 106. So there's no wind to speak of, we're not being blown off course. Frame rate's still holding beautifully well here. Highway, still powering off through the desert there, although it looks like this left lane comes to an abrupt end up ahead. It's a little disconcerting. No wonder the traffic's all coming the other way. There's nowhere to go in that direction. Go around in a circle, and it looks like it does. Maybe a town, who knows. I'm still waiting for the next airfield to pop in on the map. It is taking its time. Almost tracking down the line of the motorway, the highway. Looks like it's going to move from our right to our left. We're just sort of crossing it now. Very shallow angle. Some more wonky shadows, which we've talked about in other videos. So there's where this highway sort of comes to an abrupt end. An intersection down there. Traffic lights and stop signs. It's an interesting one. Man, is that the road to nowhere? That's probably the road to nowhere as well. Just generally north. Iraq and Syria, up in that direction. Iraq, Kuwait, and the UAE in this direction-ish. Just starting to see a little bit of this map edge over here. We've crossed over another navigation flight lane. Pretty controlled flying so far today. Nice straight flight path. Could probably sit here with a book, to be honest. Tempted to get one. Sit here and have a read while we cross the desert. What I will do is just bring the RPM back to 2500 again. It's going to slow us down a little bit, but I think it's worthwhile. Local time, just before midday. Some instrument checks. Everything's in the green. So, got to be happy with all of that. Nautical miles beyond our departure destination. A little bit of background noise maybe just creeping into the mic here, so I'm just going to close the door. I shall pause the track IR with a nice forward view. And just go and make sure that we're soundproofed. Right, that should have done the trick. Okay. We are now showing Arar is on the map. We're coming up on the halfway point actually. We've got 77 nautical miles to go. So I'm going to tune nav 1 into, there's the nav just adjusting. We're now on AAR. on the 287 radial in, which is the radial I need to be on, of course. So everything there is working very nicely. 75 or so nautical miles to go. Tuning their radios with Xplane using the map here is a bit too easy actually. You just select the button you want and it does it for you. Track IR working again. The other way to do it, of course, is to select it here and plug it all in and do it yourself, which we've done a few times before, but we're not going to do it today. Watching that distance tick down, 74. Nautical miles. So, another YouTuber, Joker, Jack Wall, he is also flying a round the world, kind of halfway around the world series as well on his channel. He is currently in Turkey and he's catching up to me. He was behind for quite some time, but I think in the last few months he's had a bit of time to get flying again, and he has been pumping out quite a few videos and he's catching up. So I might just put a link down in the video description below. You can go and check out Jack's series. He's flying a different aircraft. I think he's flying Carib. No idea. I think it starts with C. I have no idea what he's flying. I know it's faster than this thing. I think he can do about 200. So he's managing to cover a lot of ground a lot faster. I think it was a bit of a silly idea to stick with the Cessna, to be honest. It's just taking too damn long. Less than 70 nautical miles to go now. So I should check the runways too. Oh, we're almost straight in here. This is fantastic. I've got to adjust slightly right, and we'll get ourselves onto the 28. The 28 radial in. And then we'll be straight in on a long final for runway 28. So what I can do actually is I can adjust now, and once we get onto the 280 radial, then we'll come left again. Might as well make the turn early. So departing the 106 away from Turaif, and now I'm going to try and pick up the 280 in to Arar. And this number here should start going down, this 287, that should start decreasing. probably take quite some time. Well, we have clouds. They all just showed up, so we've got a bit of weather. Let's check the map, see what we've got for... Okay, yeah, there's a bit of cloud around. Looks to be a bit busier up closer to the field, but it's not too bad. I don't think we're going to get any actual weather. No, there's no precipitation. So that's fine. We don't need to worry about that too much, if at all. Alright, we're now down 1 degree on the approach radial. So we're knocking off a degree about every 5 nautical miles of distance travelled. So by about 30 nautical miles distant, we should be lined up on the 280. We should be fine. I'll take that. Change the clock over to local time. It's a little bit nicer to know what's going on locally. Excellent, gained another degree. Coming up, well, we're less than 60 now nautical miles. I think we can push the RPM again for a while. Go for that 2600 mark. Try and smash through a few more of these kilometres. Desert still looks pretty damn boring down there. Now, according to the map, we've actually got a change in terrain up ahead in the distance. Looks like it sort of goes greenish. Don't know if that's a thing or that's just the map. And we'll find out what that means in about 10 minutes, I guess. 284 radial. You can see on the map here. As we get closer, also the radials, will change faster. You can see we're diverging off that initial track, which was the 287, and we're coming right. I think I'm going to reduce the amount of divergence here. We're currently 3 degrees. Okay, coming left a bit more. Not far off the 50 nautical mile mark in now. Give that change in terrain. Oh, it's not really obvious. If there is something, then happy days. If not, it's just too bad. Tough bickies. Tough old biscuits. So 283 is the actual, just check the, we don't want to hit that because that'll actually put us on final approach. Don't press that button, whatever you do. Skips you a long way forward. Okay, 282. I'm going to end up on the 100. Or 10, it's probably going to end up being 101, 102 by the time we've sorted our approach out. Keeping busy in the cockpit here, let's reduce the RPM. Again, go through some checks just to make sure T's and P's are in the green. Such a simple aeroplane. Everything's so accessible. It's a marvellous instrument layout. I really like it. Radio, come left again. Bring it right around. Back to about 105, 106, 1 degree off the radial we need to be on, and we are 44 miles or nautical miles out from the field. So we're now tracking 106. I'm going to come right 2 degrees. Minute navigational adjustments. So look at the map so you can see if we've weaved around too much. There's that nice curve away from our initial flight plan, and now we're settling on this. It should take us right in on 2A, which is bang on the runway. Good news. We're on the 40 nautical mile mark. Has been a bit of a long flight, this one. Hold.
November 172 Sierra Papa Oscar Juliet Alpha India altimeter 2997.
2997. Just getting the altimeter here because I want to make sure that we are relatively okay for when we get into the other end. 2997. I thought we were far off. That's about right. Looks more like 3,000 feet or 3,500 feet than it did 4,500 feet. That's what I was showing. And okay, I'm going to reset the autopilot too, just while we're here. Heading at altitude. Now we're on the 280, so I'm going to bring the heading around onto about 104, 103, maybe a bit less. Less than 40 from the field. Terrain up there as well, that's good. Some actual terrain. Just overturned. Thought that was a risk of happening. I was just adjusting left and I've overturned the 280, so I'm going to have to come left again now to get back onto that. As we get closer here, things are there, we're back on now, so let's try and get on to 100 degrees. 101 degrees, nice and quickly so we don't stray off that radial again. Excellent. Tracking 101. 283 is the exact, I think, the exact runway heading. Not sure if it's two above mean sea level. 2997, not 297. 2997. Goodness gracious. Anyone else pick that up? Or was it just me? Coming up on 30 nautical miles to go, so kind of approaching the final leg now. Bringing the nose left 2 degrees, 1 degree. Just go with 2. Just trying to get a little closer to the 2.8 radial. I think my flight plan will have been a bit shaky over the last, or my flight path would have been a bit shaky over the last, not too bad. A couple of little dents here and there. But looking good. Overall, very keen to end this one. Get down, hopefully in one piece. A bit slow here. Very slow, in fact. No need to be flying that slow. Never get there at that airspeed. Keep the airplane at 100. And hopefully we'll be covering this 27 nautical miles in the next 15 minutes. That there could be our city of Arar, or is that just a bunch of bumpy mountains? Who knows? Somewhere off in this direction is an airfield. There. There she is. There. So I would be low if I was going straight in like this, but we're not going straight in like this. We're not going to descend, we're going to maintain this altitude until we're much closer. I think I actually need to probably adjust left a little. Yeah, I think I'm going to adjust left a little. straight on now. Okay, we'll go through the pre-landing checks, I think. Might as well do that now, so we're squared away. Seatbelts, well, I'm sure they're fine. Fuel to both. Engine gauges. Okay, I'm going to bring the RPM just back to 25. Heading indicators aligned. 090 about. Yeah, 095-ish. Everything's within QE. Radio set, sticking with it as it is. Not going to bother calling ahead because we're not using the Xplane system. Autopilot will come off shortly. Okay, well, let's hold the checks there because I'm not going to turn the autopilot off just yet. We're lined up. I'll go maybe 2 degrees right. And actually, right, that's us. Long final at Arar. We're very low because we're doing quite a low cross-country flight here. We're only 2,000 feet above the altitude of the airfield, which is at 18. We're at 39. So we've only got 2,000 feet to play with here, which is why we're going to go straight in. There we go, all looking good. Zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Distance now 15 nautical miles. Got visual on the field. It's really nice to be able to see the lights from so far out too. Certain other titles I know, you cannot see lights from that sort of distance. But Xplane's done a good job. Their lighting is very impressive, particularly from lights themselves. We're going to need to get the speed down below flat safety speed, so we're going to have to think about that shortly. Looks like I'm coming left. Keep that lined up. Spot on the 280. See red lights, and we're coming left again. Let's keep this aeroplane lined up. We may bring the autopilot off very shortly, start flying it manually. Shallow approach, different from my usual, much too high. My usual approaches are considerably higher than this, so I'm coming in quite flat for me, and I'm going to hold the nose from dropping until I see the right combination of PAPI lights. At the moment are all red. I think I'm just squirming away to the left of the approach here. I'm going to come right. 2 degrees, and then I'll come left to gain 1 degree. That's nice. Basically heading straight down the guts of it now, with 9 miles to go. Quick chance for some final external views. We are long final now, and that does look like the city of Arar on the left. Possibly, or maybe it's back next to the airfield. Okay, back in. That could be the town there. Yeah, that's the town. This may be some sort of wildlife. Oh, it's a bit of a city though. Row houses out in the desert, or semi-detached row. European housing. Or North American housing. Okay, let's come left again. Got our lights, autopilot off. And start reducing the engine. We're going to go with 20 and a bit RPM. And we let the nose start sinking. Whites and reds. As soon as we get below 80, I'll drop the first notch of flap. Just getting drawn off to the left here. Okay, we can bring in the first piece of flap now. Mixture full rich for landing. Don't need the fuel pump on. Here comes the first stage of flap. Landing light on. Approach speed 80. We're going to bring that down about another 10, but we'll do that as we go. Okay, we've got white lights now. So, throttle for rate of descent. Oh, we're a bit too high rather. White lights is high. I'll bring the flap down another notch. Okay, we can afford to let the aeroplane sink a bit. And 3 notches of flap, airspeed 6.5, that's fine. Going to maintain 6.5 airspeed. Rate of descent's just a little too high. Attitude for aim point, throttle for rate of descent. I'm happy with the aim point. Attitude for airspeed, throttle for rate of descent rather. So let's drop that attitude to try and gain some airspeed. Better. There we go, there's 65, that's a good airspeed. Do some nose trimming here. Some nose hair trimming. Okay, bring the throttle back. That's good. I know I've got 2 white lights, but push the aim point back a little. saying we're a fraction too high. Check the breakers off, which it is. Flaps are now fully down. Approach speed 65 to 75. We're doing 63. We can afford to bring the... Here we go. Now we're on the nice approach. Fraction too high again. Excellent. Bang on. Well, for approaches, this is much flatter than my usual, and I'm actually maintaining the right picture ahead of me for once, which I never do in this aeroplane. I never do in almost any aeroplane. I'm so used to flying the warbirds and the military aircraft in DCS that I'm much more used to coming in with a high approach angle and way more airspeed. Okay, just hanging on 65. And we'll just roll out so that we get a bit of evenness on the wheels. And we're home. Very good. Now, it does not appear that we have an exit. No. Once again, we're at one of these fields that looks like there's no exit. So we're just going to roll out. Straight down here and see if we can find an exit off ramp. Doesn't look like there are any. Raise my flaps. Ah, there's one there. Gosh, that crept up on us quickly. Okay, I've missed it. Unsignposted. I think that might be the only ramp on this field. So there are no exit ramps. So we're going to do this the old-fashioned way, and we're just going to go straight onto the grass ourselves. Nothing up ahead. No. Straight onto the bumpy sand. Due to the absence of... Park into wind. Appears not to want to let us. That's fine, we'll take this. Okay. Set for about 1000 RPM. Very good. And we'll put the brake on for the moment. Landing light off. Nav light off. Taxi light we won't need. We're not going to be doing any further taxiing. Flaps to the up position. They are trim neutral if we can, and idle the throttle, and then do a quick mag check just to make sure everything's... Let's just get it there for a bit of a... Oh, let's try and hold that at 1000. Yes. Good. Okay, we're all fine there. We can now turn off the avionics and electrical equipment. Thanks, guys. You did good today. And mixture will cut it off, and that'll be it. Ignition key off. Now I'm going to turn the brakes off purely so we can watch the replay. Because if you watch the replay with the brake on, it tends to think the brake is on when the aircraft lands, it seems to me. So, we've made it to Arar, another desolate, unfinished airfield in Xplane 11. Bit disappointing. Let's go check that landing. It is as good a place as any to watch from. Coming over the boundary fence. Just past the threshold. Just held it off for a bit too long there. Onto the grease marks. Left wheel down first, then the right wheel. And the roll out. Not too bad, if I may say so myself. So, thanks for watching. Next flight will take us, hopefully, a lot closer to the coast. And I'm hoping it won't be quite as long as this one, but it looks from this map here like we may have another long flight ahead of us. And the next one, we'll see. These appear to be stuck. It's because we're in replay mode still. That's the lot. Thanks for watching.